Thanks very much, Tomás. We look forward to the new book. Next, we have Catharine Savage Brosman. She lived in New Orleans for nearly 40 years and is Professor Emerita of French at Tulane University and Honorary Research Professor at the University of Sheffield. On the Old Plaza, just released, is her 10th collection of poetry. Her previous creative publications include 2 volumes of personal essays and 9 collections of verse, including Range of Light, which is devoted to the American West, and Under the Pergola, featuring poems on Katrina and other Louisiana topics. Catharine currently lives in Houston, and we are very pleased to welcome her with us today.
Thank you very much, Becky. Thanks to the audience for being here. This new book of mine, like some of the previous collections, has footnotes, and I'm going to begin by reading a footnote before the poem to which it is connected. It's really an end note, because it surely will help in your understanding. The poem is called El Morro. El Morro is a huge rock out in western New Mexico. That is an immense promontory. And I'll read the note as it is, but explaining the first word is Atsina, and it's in the poem also. Atsina is the Zuni name for El Morro. The Anasazi, or ancient ones, settled on cliff sides and mesa tops on the Colorado Plateau late in the first millennium AD, spread out additionally early in the second millennium, then left some 150 or 200 years later. Juan de Oñate, 1550-1626, named governor of northern New Spain, was charged with exploring the territory and spreading Christianity there. Even by the measures of the age, his treatment of the Acoma Indians after incidents in their pueblo in 1598 was very harsh, with hundreds put to death and hundreds more mutilated. Hence, the mention of him here is not to be viewed as an homage. This is in rhyme quatrains. El Morro. It dominates the landscape, solid, dense, an earth-red monolithic head, a block of being in the emptiness, immense. Atsina, place of writings on the rock. Exploring through New Spain and to the west, Juan de Oñate wrote here on the stone. Then others who had stopped to drink and rest, renowned or known by signatures alone. In search of shelter centuries before, the Anasazi climbed these cliffs and found smooth slick rock, potholes holding rain, a store of wood. Now halfway up, I look around, imagining them on the mesa top, descending, edging with consummate skill along the ledges, down a rugged drop, to stalk for game, get seeds, nuts, berries, till small fields, and carve their petroglyphs. 2 deer, a parrot, Hans, a spiraled sun, a star with points, a hunter brandishing his spear, the fundamental signs of what we are. Another hiker says, "It's windy, rough, turn back." I can't. I must find what remains of walls and granaries along the bluff, see evidence again of history's chains, which bound the old ones to a common fate, the mind and body's constant malpais, dark igneous heart, yet hopes of bounty, great and elemental vision of release. Page 49. This poem is called An Incident After the War. The war in question is the Second World War. It's during early in the American occupation of the sector of defeated Germany, which was assigned to them. This is in blank verse, and this is based on a true incident. An incident after the war. 3 officers arrived, Americans, at that time occupants, to check for arms and ammunition. Heinrich's father met them courteously, opening the door. Inspection was no insult. What good luck besides to live in Essen, in the West, and not be subject to the Russian gangs, the Reds, the liberating brutes he loathed. And what relief to have the Nazis gone, whom he had not supported, dangerous fanatics, often vile. Their handiwork lay everywhere. The war, its aftermath, whole cities gone, starvation, murders, grief, the disappearances, the guilt. His wife and he had feared, gone hungry, suffered, crazed by sirens, bombs, and strafing in the night. But he had helped a Jew discreetly, fed his younger children, and survived. What might befall them now would be non sequitur, a dispensation of new, different gods. The officers began to search the rooms quite formally. The father questioned said he had no weapons stored. Strange, though, as if by instinct, one lieutenant found a gun, a service pistol, hidden in a drawer. Mein Gott, the German murmured, scared, dismayed. That pistol was my son's, my Heinrich's, sent to us after his death. How well aligned the German mind can be, meticulous, nay, elegant. My Heinrich died along the Ostfront. There, you know, men were deprived, shot, captured, executed. Armies starved, surrounded, frozen, brutalized. In short, for Germans, Stalingrad meant death, defeat. Yet somehow bureaucratic forms prevailed. The pistol was identified, returned. I had forgotten it, suppressed it, I suppose. The sign of wasted sacrifice, disaster of a world half mad. Excuse me, please. The officers exchanged a glance, examining the pistol. No harm's done, the captain said. I recognize the arm, a Hauptmann's. It may symbolize both loss and honor, lacking in this brutal age. Just keep it out of sight, a souvenir. He nodded slightly, gave the weapon back, turned, followed by the others. Twilight fell. The house felt lonely, silent as a tomb. This is a free verse poem called Edith's Funeral. There is in it the allusion to a party which took place about the year before, which is Edith's 80th birthday party, but it's merely an allusion to the fact that there was a party at that time too, with lots of people and lots of dogs. Edith's Funeral. Illness having readied Bob, her husband, too. Her leave-taking was not abrupt nor unexpected, more a sluggish loss of life, seepage even, her vitality all drained. So I had time to book my flight, and there I was looking out on the high plains of the Panhandle, with their pie chart fields and varying tones of earth, then New Mexico, its mountains, brown or nearly black, snow-mantled, then the southern tier of Colorado. There's Blue Mesa Reservoir and the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, not far from where we camped, Edith, Bob, and I, one summer. Just as last June at her natal celebration, we'll have gatherings, some of the same people, the same dogs, though fewer. The first evening, it's a home-cooked dinner, lots of wine, mostly budget priced. But Okie Kendall Jackson Chardonnay arrives after the cheaper stuff is mostly gone. And it's like Cana, a small miracle honoring long marriage, cultured palates. The next day, it's Father Mike who does the service at St. Mark's. In comes a cat, Calico, who must be carried out. At least she is well groomed, unlike some human fauna, sporting jeans, athletic shoes, tank tops, racer-backed, and shirt tails hanging out. A sluttish girl who danced, I'm told, in a casino, tattooed, lipped, pierced bosomy, comes in a baby doll affair. I'm in a suit, midnight blue, severe and hot. Ah, well, Edith, who once wore tailored clothes that she designed, but long since moved to jerseys and loose slacks, would understand. That evening, after catered dinner and more wine, we've got pyrotechnics, thanks to a friend. An impressive send-off in the garden, sparks, wheels spinning upwards, skyrockets with noise, smoke, light, in various trajectories, which rise past clumps of aspen, leaves waving in goodbye, to burst above the cottonwoods, their remnants drifting like confetti. So, farewell, bright thought of 80 years, ruddy heart, brief explosion, quickening for a moment, silenced now, farewell. Need a little of this. There's a series, this new book is over there on this is a hardback form, but over there's the paperback edition, it's for sale. And there's a brief series of satires, and I'm going to read the first of this little series. I'm a poetry editor of a magazine, so of course I get all sorts of stuff. This is called On a Disgruntled Poet. Annoyed because I had declined to print his poems, two frail barks, unseaworthy, I thought, he whined, included out-of-place remarks, alleging my incompetence, then added that I was too old to be an editor. What sense he may possess should tell him, hold your pen, that's ageism, you're daft. Why burn a useful bridge? Instead, acknowledge that the poet's craft is hard, success unsure. Ahead, new chances lie, but talk goes round. Friends, patrons, publishers might hear, concluding that you've run aground. Miranda-like rights for this aren't clear. Au revoir, that's the send-off at the end. You're doubtless waiting for my death. Right on, sir, but don't hold your breath. All right. A poem called Dressing Gowns. Let's see, I will find the poem in question and try to, sorry, I can't find it here, and try to tell you about three things in there. Well, I had it marked, but it's gone away. Here we go. This is dedicated to my husband, Patrick, and to my daughter, Kate, who likewise admires Diderot. So, the poem's called Dressing Gowns, but it mentions the great French philosopher of the 18th century, Diderot, philosopher, encyclopedic mind and writer. It mentions Wallace Stevens, the poet, author of Sunday Mornings, and it mentions Blaise Pascal, the mathematician and philosopher of the 17th century in France. This is rather light, despite all that. Le philosophe en robe de chambre, that means the philosopher in the dressing gown. Le philosophe en robe de chambre, that's my morning mode. Like Diderot, two of us in fact, and two dressing gowns. My old plaid flannel, bought from L.L. Bean back in the early 90s, which in an English winter served me well, and Pat's heavy brogue from Neiman Marcus, worn but handsome still. Complacency of the peignoir, wrote Wallace Stevens. He, though, spoke of Sunday mornings, whereas we two, long unemployed by choice, make few distinctions among days. Music of a boiling kettle, spoons. We look at birds, check the calendar, reconsider, not however in the tragic mode, events of yesterday, plan the afternoon, read or muse, talking of books and poems, thinking and exchanging grand thoughts or modest ones. 2 phalaropes are at the pond this week, feeding, lovely creatures of late spring. The whistling ducks have come again, pecking in the grass, bathing, bobbing together, living toys. And a newer visitor, a rail, keen-eyed, properly thin, studies the pool. All perishable, all condemned like us. I look away a moment, and the phalaropes are gone, leaving perturbation on the water, a commotion in the trees, and ripples of reflection. Molecules, and nothing more. Small bits in orbit, Pascal's micro-world, reducible to energy, to waves. Ultimately, we're the stuff of light, which creates that leafy chiaroscuro pattern on the grass. Small prisms where the sunshine strikes globules of early mist, and sparkles that you watched last night from far and long extinguished cosmic fires. Admire, but do not touch. Life is a gallery of beauty which we cannot own, just visit on a temporary pass. Better not become too attached. And then that journey elsewhere by oneself. But I'm attached to you, and joyfully. The day grows long in the tooth. Fini la philosophie, or philosophy lived out with energy and love, mind and muscles, even old ones, in the service of ideals. I thank you. That's my program. We have Q&A. All of us. I mean, if we could.
Were there any questions for the office? Would you like to, were there any questions?
Or you can be done individually. As one goes around.
I don't know, it's like no one's stepping forward.
Maybe we can just mingle.
Yes, I think they're going to be signing their books over at the table over there, so they'll be sitting over there, and you're welcome to go and speak with them, and if you'd like to purchase a book, they'll be happy to sign it for you, and please look around. Thank you so much for joining us, we appreciate it.